In these examples, we are going to solve systems by using elimination. And all I've done is move the problem from up here down to underneath it so that I've got a little bit more room to work. And as a reminder, elimination is the strategy that you can use as long as your x's and your y's and your constants are all lined up. You can combine those two equations and actually add them together in order to get rid of a variable. Now, there is a problem with this particular situation right now because let's just say I were to add them together the way they are. So I would add negative 10x and negative x, that would give me negative 11x, and then negative 4y and negative 10y, that would give me negative 14y. So neither one of those variables, the way it's written right now, is actually going to cancel out. So we have to make an adjustment to one of those equations before we can actually start combining those equations. And in this case, I'm taking a look at what I have right here, and I notice that it'll be pretty easy for me to get this x to turn into a 10x, and then it'll almost cancel with that negative 10x. So instead of multiplying it by positive 10, I'm going to multiply it by a negative 10. And remember, again, the reason I'm going to do that is because if I multiply this negative 10 by this negative x, that's going to turn it into a positive 10x. And then in a moment, when I add this and this together, those are going to cancel. Now, of course, the way that equations work, I can't just decide that I want to multiply the first term by negative 10 in that equation. I have to multiply everything by negative 10. So that's why I've put these blue brackets around the whole thing. So I actually need to rewrite the entire equation. So negative 10 times negative x, as we already established, is a positive 10x. Negative 10 times a negative 10y is going to give me plus 100y. And then negative 10 times negative 3 is going to give me a positive 30 for the bottom equation. I'm now going to take that top original equation and I'm just going to bring it down. And now I can combine these two equations and one of the variables is going to cancel because a positive 10x and a negative 10x is going to cancel out and leave me with just a 0. And then 100y minus 4y is 96y. And then 30 and a negative 30 ends up being a 0. So one more step, I just need to divide both sides by 96 in order to get the y fully isolated. So y is going to be equal to 0. So if I'm looking at my multiple choice, I know I can knock that one out because the y in that one is equal to 1. So that's not going to be it. Of course, I know what the y value is, but now I need to know what the x value is. So I'm going to take an equation. For no particular reason, I pretty much always take the top equation. And I'm going to take that y value that we just found. Let me rewrite this here. So I'm going to take that y value, that y is equal to 0, and I'm going to substitute it in for y. Well, obviously, negative 4 times 0 is just going to be 0, so that's going to cancel out. So all I'm going to have left is the negative 10x is equal to negative 30, the rest of the equation. Divide both sides by negative 10, so my x-coordinate is equal to 3. So if my x-coordinate is 3 and my y-coordinate is 0, that means that it's going to be letter A.